Yeah, it's News House Sports. We talking SU Lacrosse. We got Jack Schlafly, Marcus and Botter side. Will Scott. I said his face off time. Danny Varello on all them. No one scoring like him. You know I'm talking. They Solomon, Bomberry with the celly, Damadonna with the save, Donahue with the goal, and Taylor Gate. Oh wait, another block. Yeah, that's goal stock. Hope you ready for the show. You watch a goal line extended. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Goal Line Extended. I'm Will Scott alongside Jack Schlafly and Marcus Gronauer, recapping this past week in Syracuse men's and women's lacrosse. Marcus, let's start with you with the women's team. Kind of the polar opposite of the men's team. They're really struggling. They've dropped 3 of their last 4 games. What has been the problem? I mean, do you think that playing 4 games in a week, had a really tough toll on them?
I mean, that's a reasonable argument. 4 games in 8 days? Like, are you kidding me? How can you expect your team to have consistent play? And I think that was a big problem in this game, in the Duke game. 17-10 win for the Blue Devils, an upset. And when you look at the game, right, Syracuse was down 8-6 at the half, so they were still in the game. But then you look at the second half. They come out flat. There's no effort on defense, and they allow 9 goals in the second half, and they scored just 4 goals. So I think that lack of energy was huge in that game. Even Coach Gary Gates said after the game that it was a big factor in the loss. And when you only have 1 day to prepare for an opponent like that, I mean, it's just
a top 20 team.
I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, and I think that's what went wrong in the game. So
another big factor, draw controls. You said last week on the show that Syracuse needed to clean those up. They got worse against Duke.
They did, 20-9. That's what the draw control battle looked like in this game. I mean, you can't stress it enough. We've said it every single week. If you're not getting those possessions, I mean, how are you supposed to score? And when you have a powerful offense like Syracuse does, I mean, you need the ball. And you look at the numbers, right? Emily Harris-Chuck got 1 draw control. Julie Cross with 2. I mean, Nina Marola was the only one who did well in that area. She had 4 of them. But that's something you can clean up. And if you can get that going, it takes a lot of the pressure off of Goldstock in the cage. So the defense won't have as much pressure. And I think it could actually help the team moving forward.
It does not get any easier for the Syracuse team, too. You got to go on the road on Thursday to number 6 Loyola. They're 8-2 overall. I mean, how crucial of a game is this, Marcus? It's hard to believe we're talking about NCAA tournament applications, at this point. But, like, our resume right now, not very good. We're number 18. We're on the outside looking in, I think. How crucial is this game on Thursday?
All right, well, you look at Syracuse's record, 7-5 right now. And this Loyola team is no joke. They're 8-2 right now. They're coming off an 18-11 win over Boston University. And like you said, they're a good team. And when you look at the rest of Syracuse's schedule, they have 4 games left, 2 at home, 2 on the road. You're going to have to sneak one of those road games and get one of those wins because we're on the bubble right now. It's kind of like the Syracuse basketball team. So you're going to need to win a game in the ACC pretty soon.
Jack, let's move to you about the men's team. It was Easter weekend. It looks like the Syracuse men's lacrosse team has rose from the dead. I mean, seriously, we were looking at, this team a couple weeks ago thinking, could we possibly miss the NCAA tournament? We're not playing good. We got blown out by Johns Hopkins in Albany, got beat by Rutgers on the road. But now, 2 top 10 wins in a row, undefeated in ACC play still. What has been the big difference? It has to be Damadonna, right? He's been dominant.
Damadonna has been playing great lacrosse. He had 13 saves against Notre Dame in that 10-6 win. And as you said, we've had a really tough schedule. We're only 5-3, but we're ranked 8th in the polls right now for the NCAA, which is great. And as you talked about with the women too, they're kind of outside looking in. Syracuse is on the inside right now. They're looking great. They're on an upward trend. And as you said, goalie play is going to be big. Play a Cornell team later on this season that has scored 20 or more goals in their last 3 games. So we're going to need good play from Damadonna down the stretch, and Coach John Desko should be feeling pretty good about that right now.
The trend I'm seeing, Jack, dating back to last year as well, is Syracuse's ability to finish games because our losses this year have not been close, but most of our wins have been close games. The Notre Dame game on Saturday, it was very close going into the fourth quarter. Yeah. We pull away in the fourth, win 10-6. Madonna played excellent. They did a great job of, controlling possessions. I mean, has this been something? Is this going to really help Syracuse in the NCAA tournament? Is this why we could potentially make a run?
Well, they call them cardiac cues for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's not only the basketball team. I mean, we've seen, as you said, close games with teams like Virginia. Notre Dame was, maybe not down to the wire, but it was close going into the fourth quarter. And that's obviously not a great strategy when you're going into the ACC tournament with great teams like North Carolina, Notre Dame, Duke, a conference that's really deep, and the NCAA. When you get to the tournament, these top 16 teams are all going to be very good. They're going to have playmakers, guys who can finish games, score goals if you're tied going down to the wire. So it's not a great strategy, but a win's a win.
How far can this team go, Jack? Like I said, undefeated in ACC play, 3-1 against top 10 teams, just climbed back into the top 10 in the national rankings. Do we have a chance to potentially make a run for another NCAA title?
I personally think a very good chance. I mean, a lot of times when you look at the lacrosse tournament, there's usually one team that makes the Final Four. Like last year was Towson, that's kind of a smaller team. But Syracuse is a team that can win it all. They're a team that's big. They've got talent. They got the coaching. They've got everything you need to win the whole thing. So they're not one of those Cinderella teams that's going to go to the Final Four, or a Cinderella team that might even go to the championship. They're a team that has a legitimate chance to win it all. Obviously, team they played earlier in the season in Albany is going to be a very tough challenge. They're a very strong team. You got other teams like Duke. So it's going to be tough, but Syracuse has got the talent, the coaching, all the necessary tools to get it done.
Give credit to Coach John Desko, man.
A lot,
he has really
lot.
turned this team around.
Yeah.
He's kind of figured out the face-offs. He's figured out time of possession, which was a big issue. So you never bet against John Desko. A guy knows what he's doing. He's really turned this team around. And he would love a rematch with Albany.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what we
Everybody
saw
would.
in that second
Everybody
game.
would.
So we'll see you next week on Goal Line Extended. Thank you for tuning in. Let's hope the Syracuse men's and women's teams get some big wins this week.